Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. We're going to take a few minutes and we're going to demonstrate how to start the basic walls of our basic home for Architecture 1. Now, we're using ArchiCAD. This is version 26. 27 should be out soon. It's the same for pretty much most of the BIM softwares as far as the general look, the general tools. They all have their own variations of them and their own strengths and weaknesses. But we're using ArchiCAD because it's a good deal for us in our school. So I'm working on a home right here. I've got my exterior wall layer picked right there. I'm on my outside face of my walls, and I know ArchiCAD defaults to this form of geometry. I prefer the single wall piece, so we're going to start with it. And I'm going to pull my generic wall tool down out of my structures. I'm using a composite structure, which is the middle one. I'm going to pull my basic wall down here, and I'm going to find a 5.5-inch wall with siding and gypsum board. So that one's got 5.5 inch with sheathing, siding, and gypsum board. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to start here somewhere. I'm just going to eyeball this for a minute. Okay. Now I know what my numbers are. So I've got a 13-foot wall along the front. Then it goes back straight up 8 feet, and then it continues out to my left again at 17 feet. Now, if you watch my cursor, notice the dark side is the outside of my building. That's the side I'm keeping to the outside. If I mess this up, it's going to flip around that draw side, and I'm going to end up having to mess with some of my dimensions later. So just be attentive to that. Now this goes back 32 feet, it comes straight across. Now I'm going to show a trick right here. And it's not really a trick, it's just one of the tools in it. I can either type in the 30 feet across, or I can hold my shift key down once I get the cursor, the line, wall, whatever, going in the right direction. When I hold my shift key down, if I drag my cursor, see how it keeps that wall locked on an orthographic straight out to my left? I can come down here and line it straight up with the bottom corner right here, which is where I want it to start and stop at, and when I click there, it's just going to go to that one. So I'm going to bring this wall down here, and it's going to line up perfectly. Now, I like to put my stuff centered on my plan, so I actually do this to it, usually right off the bat. Now I'm holding the shift key down so I can select multiple pieces. So I selected this, and then I held my shift key down and selected what hadn't been selected. Then I can bring my cursor up, grab this midpoint right there, and drag it. I'm going to use the drag tool right here. Drag this straight over to that, and then I'm going to come over to this side, find the midpoint right there, drag that straight down. So that's centered on these are my camera mounts. This is my elevation mounts. These are my sectional mounts. This is a typical wall section. I actually get those sorted out, and then I turn them off. So hide the layers. All I did is right clicked on the system. So when I do click on something, I can right click on it and pull up this menu. I went to the layers and then to hide. If I want to get off of that, I just click out into deep stark space. Now next thing, I'm going to add some walls to the interior of this. So I'm going to change my layer to interior walls, which is right below exterior walls. I'm going to change my surface here to be 3.5 inch with gypsum on each side. Now, we get into the differences between plumbing walls and bearing walls. So I'm just going to click right there on that corner. Notice how that hits. That's not going to be the way I want it. I want to flip that wall over. There we go. Flipped it over so the drag side's still the outside, but my outside is to my left instead of my right. I'm just going to drag it straight up through the back wall. There we are. Now, I can go like this at this point and drag a line straight out here to my left again. So I've now created a wall that is a bearing wall, and I can change that to be a 5.5-inch wall if I want. This house isn't big enough to need that, so we're not going to worry about it. For my classes, I typically teach it to put a 5.5-inch wall, but I don't deduct if it's not. And then this bottom piece right here, this is just a wall that I put through the house. I'm going to move this wall straight back up 13.5 feet because that's how big this room is. So I get it moving. I'm using the drag tool. I'm going to type in distance of 13.5. Hit enter, and there he is. Now, I can copy him. So I'm going to literally click on him. I click on him again. I use the multiply tool right here. I'm going to use the increment and spread. I'm going to pick on him again, move him straight up, and this is 2.75 across that closet, and I have to enter twice. Okay, so that's there. Now, this wall right here, I'm going to flip over. That way, because it measures from the outside to the outside. This wall needs to become a 5.5-inch wall, but I'm going to do that in a minute. You'll see why. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click on this wall again, go multiply. And when I go OK here and drag him straight up, I'm going to go 5 feet exactly. Enter and enter. Now that wall gets flipped again. That is the bathroom wall between there and there. It has to be 5 feet to fit what we need to fit in it. Okay. Now next I'm going to click on this wall again. I'm going to copy a third time. Okay, straight up this way. And this one is actually 4.75 up. Whoops, I went move. I wanted copy. So I want multiply. Okay. Here, went straight up. 4.75. There he is. So flip that over. So I should have 5 feet here, because I somehow unflipped it. That wall should also be flipped now. Okay, so I've got the bedroom area back here, the closet here, bedroom here, closet there, bathroom in between. I need the hallway right here, which is relatively simple. It is again a multiply tool, and I go multiply. Okay, from here over this way, and that is 3.08333333 repeating. So that's 3.083 repeating is the same as 3 foot 1 inch. Okay, it's just the decimal foot version. Now once I get him there, I can flip him again. Okay, so this wall, okay, is the bearing wall through the house. This right here is the closet, and there's a linen closet here and a linen closet there. Both of those are just about 2 feet deep. So I'm going to go right here and go copy, multiply right there, good. And I'm going to move that in this way exactly too. Okay, now I can start deleting stuff here. So trim key works this way. I hold the control key down, and anything I click, see how my cursor turns into scissors? I can trim off. So I trim out stuff that I don't want. So like pieces that stick through the outside walls of the house. Okay, pieces that stick into bedrooms that aren't supposed to, things that stick into bathrooms that aren't supposed to, or hallways that aren't supposed to, etc., etc. I end up with that right there. There's my interior walls. Okay, now I got another set of interior walls. I have one that goes right here. I'm going to draw a line across this like so. I'm going to go like this and move him down. So I move him. He is 17 feet down into my house. Okay, and I'm actually going to drag him this way a bit so that he's not in the middle of the house. That is the side for my laundry room and master bath right there. This is the master bath's walk-in closet. So I then need to go like this and go multiply. So I click right here. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to click here. I'm going to go multiply. Okay. Bring this guy over this way 5 feet. Now, it needs to be bigger than it is. So here's what I often have to do. That is truly not 5 feet. That's 4'7". So get 5. I'm just going to point it straight out, get the 5. Got it. And then if I go like this and I move that wall right there to the end point, that means it's exactly 5 feet across there for that bath. Okay. It doesn't mean that wall sticks to the back side. I can use my control key and just click on it to trim it off, just like the rest of it. Okay. Now what you're going to notice in some cases is that the kitchen stem wall right here that covers up the side of the fridge and stuff, I'll worry about that later. Got it? Now this room right here, I'm going to copy this line right here. I'm going to go multiply. Okay. Copy this straight up that way, about 6.5 feet. Okay. That should be enough room to put a washer dryer here and be fine. Now one thing I do need to do though is this wall, because it is a plumbing wall, has to be a 5.5 inch plumbing wall, and so does this one. Okay. Now what's happening is this. In this case, I've got to put drains and soil stacks in this wall for the kitchen and the laundry and this bath. And I got to put them in this wall for the bath. Okay. So that's where we're at. We're going to pause this here, and we'll come back and finish up the next chunk later. Thank you.